All work and no play makes Jane frugal?
What?
It's Labor Day in the U.S., and that gave us pause to consider the connection between work and frugality. Are they completely separate entities, or at some point do they actually come together and help drive you faster and closer to your goals? We have some definite opinions. Stick with us. We'll talk about that topic.
Kick back for this last day of our long weekend. Enjoy a nice cold beverage. Put a burger on the barbecue. Make sure you flip that burger. Don't get too wrapped up in our conversation that you burn that to a crisp. And if you don't know us, I'm Larry.
And I'm Hope.
And we're from Under the Median, where every week we bring you videos on practical frugality. Hope, let's talk about the connection between frugality and work. Are they related to one another?
See, I think one of the things we have to do right now is like a definition.
Ah, that's good.
Frugality is about mindful spending. It's not about never spending. It's about figuring out where you want your money to be spent and what you want that money to do.
Yeah, and of course, work is the means to provide
Right.
for our household and to bring an income in of which we can work with in order to live a frugal life.
Ultimately, when you see the connection between the two, you sort of figure out in really short order that not only they're compatible, that there's something that can work sort of cohesively together to help you reach goals much faster than you would if you didn't see the connection between frugality and your work.
Once you start working at living in a frugal way, that does affect your work because then it gives your work more purpose. It actually puts kind of some kind of an engine behind your work, and you can see what you're doing for your vocation becoming very vital and useful as you're more purposeful in how you spend that money.
You know, the other thing that I really think that this connection does, it helps you to realize and think really carefully before you purchase something.
Yes.
Because you're realizing that when you purchase that item, you're basically trading X number of hours of work for that item. Here's the other thing that I think is really misunderstood about this whole conversation is that we tend to begin to think that more frugality equals more work.
Because you're thinking of providing more income
Right.
into that frugal lifestyle in order to make that work. But that's not necessarily the case. What frugality really does is make your work time more efficient and effective.
Yeah. And I think the other part of that equation is that frugality is a learned skill. And we tend to forget that sort of in the minutia of the details when it comes to frugality, because there's so many different ways to save money. As you go along this frugal path that you're on, you will become more efficient with your frugality, and you will start to figure out which frugal habits are helping you save more money than other frugal habits are. And you figure out how to do things in less time to save more money.
Now, as you apply the frugality principles, and that means saving, budgeting, putting some money away for emergencies, saving up for the things that you really need, a college education, a new house, maybe you're starting a family, whatever those savings goals are, it gives you so much purpose in your work that your work takes on a whole fresh life to it.
It starts you looking at your basic habits and saying, all right, what can we do to tweak this? There's always lots of tweaks you can make. And it always disturbs us, I think, when we hear from viewers that say, I'm doing everything I can, there's nothing more I can do. We've been frugal for 35 years, and there's always something more that you can do that you haven't done. Trust us, because we always look at our own habits, and either we've sort of know what we should be doing, and let's just say that one or the other of us has sort of strayed from the fold a little bit. And we have to remind ourselves, wait a minute, we were doing this before it was really working. Let's kind of get back to that habit, that healthy, happy, frugal habit, and start doing that again. Or we come up with ideas, or we hear ideas from y'all all the time that we haven't been doing. We're like, oh, what a great idea. There's always something more that can be done. Never think like you've painted yourself into a corner, you've done everything there is to do, you can't do anything more.
Without a budget, without specific goals, you're wasting a lot of your work hours. So as you apply frugality to your work dollars, you're getting a lot more out of them. You may find that you have more time on your hands as you get more efficiently with how you're spending your money.
Yeah, but let's talk just a second to those who are watching and thinking, but you don't get it. my work has taken over my life. It feels like it's this heavy weight. It's 24/7. It's non-ending. Let's say they're working a 40-hour work week, but they also have like a side gig that they're putting a lot of time and effort into. Let's talk about how to strike that balance and figure out, what stays and what goes.
There is a time in our lives when it's okay to kind of dig down and work really hard to nail down a specific goal. We did that when we were saving to buy this house about 13 years ago. We spent a little extra time. I was doing a second job. Hope was doing a lot of extra side jobs in order to pour money in for savings. But that doesn't have to be our lifestyle for our entire days that we spend on this earth. Once you get a really big goal done, then taper that back a little bit and slow down and kind of enjoy where you're at. It's kind of like when you climb a mountain. You get pretty tired when you get to that top. Well, spend a little time at the top and enjoy the view.
But if you're the person that is kind of trudging up that metaphorical mountain that Larry just mentioned, and you're in the midst, you are in the heart of it and the heat of it, and you are really working hard for a major goal, believe us, we understand because we've been there.
Yes.
And that's where we were about 13 years ago when we were saving money to buy this house. If that's where you're at, we really want to give you some help right now. We wrote an ebook, and it's filled with ways that we cut our budget to the bone when we were working hard for a great big goal. It's called 10 Ways to Radically Reduce Your Expenses. I give you step-by-step instructions in there as well as checklists. It's free. Did I mention it's free? It's free. I'll leave a link to it, guys, in the description of the video.
Hope, let's swing back down now to the idea of the workload and ways that we can limit our work. If we're just working so hard all the time and we have, so to speak, no time to come up for air, that isn't healthy. That can drag you down. That can actually harm you physically, mentally. It can take all of the joy out of living if you're just working too hard.
We have a list of recommendations if that's where you're at. One of the things we think you probably need to do is figure out where all your time is going. Sometimes we feel like we're doing nothing but work, but you have to get it down on paper. Time blocking was an epiphany for me about a year ago, guys.
Hope is good at this.
Oh my goodness. I heard about time blocking. I'd never tried it before. If you've not tried time blocking, so basically you take each of the tasks that you're doing every day and you take a calendar, which is, it's 24 hours long, right? So in each hour, you're going to block time out for how much time each activity is going to take you. So you put a limit on it because we all know the old saying, right? That work expands to fill the time allotted for it, to complete it. And so if you're saying, I am going to do this task and I've allotted 2 hours for it in my day, it's a lot more likely that task is going to take you just 2 hours if you know from 10 to noon, I've blocked out my day to do this task. And if you haven't done that, then that task could take you 4 or 5 hours because you're getting interrupted or because you're allowing other things to take place in the midst of that time block. So the whole idea of time block is that time block is dedicated to that one task. Once you get everything time blocked, you may see that there's some wasted time in the day, or you may find that by rearranging the way that you're doing things and the amount of time allotted for each task, you're able to get more done in less time, and that is super helpful.
And one of the things too you need to take into consideration when you're time blocking is time block some time off of your work throughout the day. Studies have shown that people that take a 15-minute break or a 20-minute break kind of in between during their work actually work more effectively because they've taken a little time to back off and rest, and then you go back to it and you're refreshed and you feel like tackling it with a clear mind and a lot more of your power and strength to do it.
But one of the things you might also find when you time block, though, is that you've got way too much going on. Like, you've got 10 hours in the day and you've got enough tasks in there to fill like 16 hours in the day. That really may very well be the problem.
And we've been there.
Absolutely.
We've been there and seen that in our own lives.
And if that's the case, though, you got to do what we did. You have to, it's my favorite word, guys, say it with me, prioritize. You have to figure out which tasks are most important. One of the things that you need to think about with these tasks is how much, and this is specifically for those of you, as we mentioned, that you're working a full-time job, you got a side gig, you're really trying to bring more money in. you need to evaluate that side gig. How much money is it really bringing in? Is this a situation where maybe you need to switch to a different side gig, that you're going to get more bang for your buck, so to speak, that you're going to be able to work fewer hours and bring more money in? Or is it a situation where you just need to work more efficiently at the side gig so that you're able to bring in more money in the same amount of time? Things to think about.
So look at the hours that you're working each week and find ways to work smarter, not harder. If this is resonating with you and you're ready to strike a balance between frugality and work, give this video a thumbs up.
And if you haven't subscribed to Under the Median, it's a great time to do it. Hit that subscribe button and then hit all bell notifications. Okay, so we've got some time freed up in your schedule now. We've time blocked. We figured out what's most important. We've prioritized. And Larry said it most importantly, build in some breaks. So a little bit of that is going to give you some free time. And we would hope that you're going to spend that free time with your friends and your family. So let's talk just a sec about that intersection between now you've got more free time, striking a balance between spending that free time with your friends and family.
Because you don't want to spend your free time spending all the money that you're working so hard to save. That's kind of counterproductive. But we need free time in order to build a little recreation, a little rebuilding, and some refreshing so that we're ready to go out and hit that 40-hour work week.
We want to talk just a little bit about frugality's purpose in work. But before we do that, we want to just wrap up this section by reminding you that if you feel like all you're doing is working, to save a penny here, save a penny there, save a penny everywhere, there should be a song like that. Except, I have to say, some of our viewers don't have pennies. Like our Canadian viewers, y'all don't have pennies anymore. I'm so sorry. But after a period of time, that balance between frugality and work does mean that you will save more than a penny here and a penny there and a penny everywhere. But it will be done in such a way that you don't wind up feeling frustrated or burnt out every day of the week.
Keeping in that vein, you can begin to translate how much money that you'll need for any frugal habit. Let's say the frugal habit that you're doing is taking you 15 minutes a week. As long as you know that that's saving you quite a bit of money, you're likely to continue doing that.
Now, 15-minute-a-week frugal habits, that definitely resonates with super busy people. If you'd like a list of frugal habits that will not take you any more than 15 minutes a week to implement, we did a video on it, guys. It's right over there. We think you'll find it super helpful. All work and no play makes Jane frugal?
Mad.
What?
Makes her mad. I know. I live with her.
What?
Mad. She's mad.